So you've been calling for an impeachment inquiry. We're here now.
Yes.
How do you feel now that this is actually happening?
Well, I am glad that it is happening, but just keep in mind, I was right here 5 months ago, here in Keene, and it was just a day or two after the Mueller report had come out. After the report came out, I had never expected to get involved on something around impeachment, but I read the report. And read that afternoon, read into the evening, fell asleep, got up the next morning and finished it. And by the time I got to the end, all 448 pages, at the end it had shown three things. And that was that a hostile foreign government had attacked our 2016 election for the purposes of helping Donald Trump. That candidate Trump had welcomed that help. And then when the federal government investigated it, President Trump did everything he could to obstruct that investigation. And for me, that's it. He has now established that he thinks he is above the law.
But now that he's president, we see what he said to the Ukrainian president. That transcript of the call, you
Yes.
tweeted it in quotes, is out today. We see what he said to the president. There's no explicit quid pro quo in there.
It doesn't have to be a quid pro quo. It's solicitation of help from a foreign government for his own political purposes. That is the smoking gun. It's right there in his own words. He's admitted it. And this means it is time for the House to do its impeachment proceedings.
And it is.
It is.
So
and I'm glad it is.
Do you think there's any legitimacy to the idea that this helps his reelection efforts?
Yeah, for me, it just, we can't do politics 24/7. This is something that's about the Constitution of the United States. I swore, I took an oath, and so did everyone else in Congress, to uphold the Constitution. And the Constitution says no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. And it now falls to Congress to hold this president accountable, because that's the real point. The Mueller report shows, as a candidate and then as president, exactly what Donald Trump was willing to do. We hold him accountable back then. He doesn't go forward. But now, when we fail to hold him accountable, here he is again, showing that he is perfectly willing to break the law if it helps Donald Trump. If we don't hold him accountable this time, what's he going to do over the next 14 months?
You're saying now, and you've said before, this is beyond politics, but there's two parts to this, right? The House can vote, and there's upwards of 200 Democrats there saying that they would support an impeachment vote. But when it gets to the Senate, it's pretty much guaranteed to be dead on arrival. How do you make sure that this is a fruitful process, that it's not just DOA?
I actually am not so sure that it's dead on arrival.
Why?
Look at this. There is a smoking gun now. It's right there in his own words. He has solicited a foreign government to interfere in our elections in order to help himself politically. There's no way around this. There's no, nudge a little this way or nudge a little that way. And so bringing it over to the Senate and saying to the Republican leadership and to every Republican in the Senate, where do you stand on this? Is that okay with you? Do you think a president of the United States should be able to break the law and not be held accountable?
But we're not hearing many Republicans saying that.
Well, they may not want to go out of their way right now, but I think that vote has to be put in front of them. And look, at the end of the day, everybody will vote, and then they will live with that vote for the rest of their lives.
I want to switch gears a little bit. You're surging in the polls. Several now. We've seen you either tied with the front runner or a few points ahead. What should we make of this surging in the polls?
I don't do polls. We're still 4.5 months away from the first caucus in Iowa and the first primary election right here in New Hampshire. For me, this is about a chance to get out and talk to people. I've now been to 27 states and Puerto Rico. This will be my 133rd town hall that we're about to do.
When you're at these town halls, though, what do you see that maybe we're seeing a surge in the polls? What are you seeing on the ground that translates?
So what I'm seeing, because I do selfie lines, I get to hear from people individually. And for some people, it's about the issue that brought them there. They want to see us cancel student loan debt. They want to see us protect health care for everyone. They want to see us make an investment in child care. But the thing I hear the most now is the word hope. You give me hope. And I never quite thought of it that way. I don't talk in terms of lots of, highborn language. I talk about what's broken and how to fix it and how we're going to build a grassroots movement to get it done. And a lot of people are saying that's what gives me hope.
So one of the things that a few of your opponents were talking about late last week, really, was this idea of middle-class taxes and health care. So yes or no, should middle-class Americans expect their taxes to go up under a Medicare for all system?
You know, you may remember that I've spent a big chunk of my life studying why middle-class families go broke. And one of the number one reasons is health care. And back when I was studying it, about 2 out of 3 families that filed for bankruptcy in the aftermath of a serious medical problem had health insurance. But the problem is it's total cost for these families. So it's what you pay in premiums. It's also what you pay in co-pays to see a doctor. Or, sorry, that doctor is out of network, so you've got to pay for the whole thing. Or, wait, the insurance company says no on that specialist. Or the insurance company says high co-pay on this drug, or that drug is not even covered at all. People keep reaching into their pockets and reaching into their pockets even when they have health insurance. So how we have to think about this system is, yes, we should expect that for giant corporations and very wealthy individuals, costs will go up. But for middle-class families, for hardworking people, costs are going to go down.
But that's not the same as taxes not going up.
What matters to families is costs. Because my view is nobody in America should go bankrupt because of a bad medical diagnosis. And we can fix that in this country.
So do you think then that Americans are willing to pay a little bit more in taxes if generally the household costs are going down on health care?
I think that families care about what their costs are over and over and over. You know, look around you. Over the last 5 years, how much have costs gone up on premiums and co-pays? Everyone I talk with talks about what it's like with insurance companies. I just got off the phone talking to someone who went on and on about how he'd misplaced his medicine and now so he was trying to get it in another city. And he's on the phone with his insurance company, arguing and arguing and arguing, and ultimately had to reach in his own pocket and pay. That's the squeeze that's on families. And the reason for that is because for-profit insurance companies make their money by dragging in as much as they can in premiums and then saying no in terms of paying out. Think about it this way. Insurance companies last year made about $23 billion in profits. They didn't count the millions they paid their CEOs and their glass tower office buildings, just $23 billion in profits. Every dollar of those profits was earned by an insurance company saying no to someone who needed health care coverage.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.